Rough Riders starting a series against the Northwest Arkansas Naturals this evening, and we're joined by Jimmy Reyes, who threw 2 scoreless innings last night. He struck out 5, and Jimmy, it was a lot of fun to watch you last night. What do you think made you so effective?
Just trusting my stuff, not really worrying too much about what was going on around me and staying focused and taking it one pitch at a time. It sounds really cliche, but that's kind of what got me through that.
So it sounds like the focus, maybe more than anything, is what helps you there on the mound.
Absolutely. I'm figuring a few things out with my slider that helped, and I was able to translate that into the game, but mostly it was focus.
21 of your 29 pitches were strikes, and I noticed that you were getting your slider over for a strike a lot more often than not. How important is it for you to get your breaking ball over for strikes?
It's important. I think fastball command is more important. Getting ahead with my fastball allows me to have a little more leeway with my slider, but obviously putting away guys, and when you end those 0-2 and 1-2 counts, being able to throw your slider where you want to helps you put away guys really quick.
Can you take us into a little bit of what you're working on with the breaking ball? Because, I've seen it the last couple of years, and at times it can lose a little bit of definition, go between a curveball and a slider. So I'm interested to hear what you and Jeff are working on.
Staying on top of it. I tend to come around the side of it, and that kind of comes from pulling off with my front side. So staying in line, keeping everything going towards home plate, finishing over my front leg, and keeping those fingers on top of the ball.
Last night, I'm sure everybody would have loved to have pitched on a night like last night. Offense is rolling, 8,700 people inside the stadium. It's a 4th of July crowd. I mean, you've pitched in front of big crowds in Frisco, but I'm sure it's always a little bit more special when you're pitching in front of a big crowd like that on the road. I bet that gets the blood pumping.
Definitely. I mean, you're not really worried about it when you're pitching, but just being in the environment in general kind of gets you a little more focused and a little more amped up to play.
Things this season for you, Jimmy, have been a little bit inconsistent. You've had long periods where you've been dominant, but it just seems like every so often you have an outing where things really don't go right in any aspect. Why do you think that inconsistency's been there?
Well, in the past, once things start to go awry, I tend to overanalyze, overthink, and go away from what I do best, and that's taking it one pitch at a time and focusing on executing a pitch and nothing else. So once I get a runner or two on base, I've been a little more timid than I'd like to be, and I think going forward, taking last night's outing, going forward, I'd like to be able to really kind of focus in, and if I give up a hit or walk a guy or two, and just stay focused on what I have to do and put it behind me.
When you hear about the mental aspects of the game, is that really where it comes into play? Because obviously you've got the physical talent to be able to strike out, pretty much anybody you see, or retire them at least. But is that where the mental focus part of the game comes into play?
Absolutely. You're going to hit bumps in the road, but it's your ability to bounce back from them, and it's your ability to, in the moment, on the mound, take a step back and say, wait a second, I got to refocus, I got to rethink this, and go back to what I do and how I get people out.
Is it frustrating at all? Because, when you look at the numbers, I'm sure they're not what you would like them to be, but you've probably pitched better than those numbers would indicate.
Yeah, I used to worry about numbers. I think the more I play, the less I worry about them. You have to realize that this game can change in a heartbeat, and you put together a good month or two, nobody cares what you did at the beginning of the season, and it's vice versa. You can pitch great for the first 2 months of the season. You have a couple bad months, and that's how they view you. So trying to stay away from how people view me in general really helps, and taking that going forward, I'd like to kind of continue on that path.
You just have to look at what John Edwards was able to do to prove your point there with somebody who really pitched well over the last month and a half and then used that to catapult himself up to AAA. Jimmy, as long as I've known you, you've had such a positive attitude. You're a guy who your teammates love being around. Is that sort of positive vibe, does that just come from your upbringing? Have you always been that way?
I've kind of always been an energetic and fired up kind of guy. It's really hard to keep me calm. So I wake up every morning and you brush it off, and you start to be like, man, this is going to be a great day, and God's giving me another day, so let's go at it.
There's been a strong Florida contingent on this pitching staff throughout the season. Guys that are no longer here: Luke Jackson, Nick Martinez, you, Asher, along with Chichi, and it seems like you guys all get along really well. Is that just by chance, or is there a Florida connection with you guys?
There's a little bit of a connection, just all being from Florida, that we kind of all bond together and take pride in that we're from a state that's produced a lot of great ball players.
How often do you guys get a chance to see each other, maybe work out in the off season?
Well, we're kind of spread out, but and I'm up in North Carolina for most of the off season, but we try to get together whenever we can, and we keep in touch pretty good over the off season.
You worked on finishing up your degree in the off season, right?
Got a degree in exercise science. I'm focused on here first, but it's a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. I can kind of concentrate on baseball and this off season, really enjoy a full true off season, as opposed to hitting the books. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad I got it over with.
And in a pinch, you can help out Eric getting these guys loose for games, right?
Oh, I don't know about that. I think he's got a few more years and a little more experience under his belt than I do.
But Jimmy, it was a lot of fun to watch you last night. Best of luck keeping it forward, and thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
It's Jimmy Reyes. We're back right after this on the Frisco Rough Riders Baseball Network.